All right, welcome in to this edition of the MCT podcast. Once again, I am your host and co-host. Alongside me this week is Toddeh 5, Toddeh Manukian. Toddeh, how you been, buddy?
Doing good. Just came back from DC where I didn't see anything sports-wise. No sports memorabilia.
Yeah.
Good. Actually, I saw DC United stuff. So good job, Washington football team. You guys are owning it out there.
Oh, sport memorabilia wise. Okay, that's fair. I was like, you still just pictures from like Nationals Park. You were like right at Nationals Park.
I was right by Nationals Park. Okay. I didn't see any baseball people wearing baseball jerseys. I didn't see anyone wearing football jerseys for any of the teams out there. I saw someone wearing a Baltimore Ravens jersey.
There you go.
A couple Yankees jerseys, but like none of the local teams.
Like, to be fair, you're there like end of August, September. So like, it's a great time for sports. And it's also kind of a weird time for sports because like basketball's done or about to get started. Football's like here. Baseball is going, but like the Nationals they sold the farm at the trade deadline when they were still kind of in the playoff run, which is really weird. Honestly, it was one of the weirdest things I saw this trade deadline. Without getting too much into it, like obviously, like, deep down, I knew and everybody kind of knew the Cubs were going to sell off at the trade deadline. It was just a question of how much were they going to sell. And then, a couple other things, nothing really blockbuster happened until all of a sudden the Nationals are like, hey, Scherzer and Trey Turner are going to LA and our season's done. So like magic, voila. And they were, third in the division. They were only like 8 or 9 games out of first place in that division. So, which sounds like a lot, but they had 3 months to make up that ground. They were right in the race. I would argue if they made a move and acquired a piece or two, they could, take that division and they had a decent month or two. So who knows? I don't know. Super weird, but it is what it is. So definitely one of the more intriguing, questionable decisions of this year in terms of baseball. But so long way around
no fans out there still.
I was long way around of saying I'm not surprised that Nationals Park wasn't hopping on a Friday in August this year. So how kind of far the mighty have fallen from winning it all in 2019. So
yeah.
But Toddeh, I was saying, this is the first, so we're into September. Today is Friday, September 3rd, 2021, obviously. We are, I really do, as much as I don't like summer ending, I really do like September specifically. Into October for fall and stuff. I know everybody seems to love fall, the leaves changing, all that stuff. That's all well and good. I'm thinking, shocker, you'll be surprised to think I'm almost always thinking in my sports tunnel. So in my sports tunnel, September on October are, I always argue, like some of the best times for sports because football's finally back. We've waited forever. It always feels like, so football's finally back. Basketball, we can see basketball coming, and baseball is getting into the postseason. So you have all three of the major sports kind of culminating at once, and news comes flying all the time. It feels like in August, September, and October for all of the sports because basketball is making moves. Football, like I said, is about to get started, and baseball, the playoff picture's finally coming into form after 6 months of regular season baseball. So it's a very exciting couple of months. So we've got quite a few things to get into, Toddeh. But I wanted to express kind of my love for this time of year when it comes to sports. Yeah, I'm sure it's exciting for you to get football betting back because isn't that, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that what you started with when it came to betting?
That's what I started with. My first big win was a Colts bet against the Colts versus Chiefs a couple years back when Marlon Mack wasn't supposed to start, but then he started they put him on the list like 2 hours before the game saying, oh, he's going to start. And that's when I put down like $40 on the Colts to beat the Chiefs when they were the underdogs. Okay. And that was my first big bet. And that was my first big payoff. So I like football bets.
Yeah. You had that endorphin rush. You've been riding that high. Hey, I get it. We all get there.
I believed in that team. I don't believe in this team.
We'll get there. So that's actually a great little tease. Again, it's almost like we know what we're doing on this show. It's a great little tease into what I know. a great little tease into what I want to mention. So sometime next week, it may be our regularly scheduled release on Saturday, but it may be a midweek release. We'll update you on our social medias and things like that when we figure out logistically what we're gonna do. But we will be doing an NFL season preview special. So full hour and a half, we're going to dive into, each awards race, each division, how the season's going to shape out, because we're ready to go. Toddeh, the regular season is 6 days away. We've got a game Thursday night. Like, I'm ready. This is our last weekend without regular season football without meaningful football until February.
Thank goodness.
Woo, let it out, boys. We made it, y'all. So a very, very exciting time. And you know what? I think what's going to be kind of fun to do, since we're talking football, but we're going to leave all of our NFL talk for that special. But Toddeh, tonight I am right now, because I'm a horrible podcast host, but I am doing a fantasy football draft. My family's, I finally got the invite, y'all. I cracked it. 28 years in the making. I finally am allowed in the family and friends league. Okay, it's not that I haven't been allowed. It's just that for whatever reason or another, I've never gotten in. I keep forgetting to ask until the season already starts, and you can't really throw me in then. So it's it's very interesting. Wow. Okay, so sorry,
Big moves.
Making moves, baby. So I'm finally in my family friends league. So we're drafting right now. I figured it would be kind of fun to open the door on that and actually let you guys kind of follow along with me and as I'm drafting, Toddeh. So here you go. Okay, so here we go. Ready? I had the 4th overall pick. Okay. First overall this year in my family's league, Pat Mahomes went number 1 overall.
Okay.
Pat Mahomes went 1 overall. Christian McCaffrey went 2nd. Derrick Henry went 3rd.
Okay.
With the 4th overall pick, then I took Aaron Jones, Green Bay Packers running back. So I'll open the door. I'll let you into my mindset, and then we can talk about it, Toddeh. Okay. So I was looking at I was looking at three guys at that spot, and really I don't think. And for the record, this is an 8-team. Looks like it's an 8-team league. So I was looking at 3 dudes at number 4. I was looking at Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, and Jonathan Taylor.
Okay.
So I went with what I felt like of those 3 is probably going to be the surest bet fantasy-wise. Like, not necessarily the best player and not necessarily even the most explosive player, but I think the guy that's going to, barring injury, I think the guy that's going to get you 100+ yards and almost a touchdown, a game. Like, I think Aaron Jones signed that big deal. He's right now into, I think, the very peak of his mountain of his career. You know what I mean? He's coming into his 4th year. He understands the playbook. Obviously, Rodgers is still there, so if you're facing this Green Bay offense, you're still focused on Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, as good as Aaron Jones is. So he's gonna get the ball. Now the problem may be, yes, Aaron Jones in that passing offense, they're gonna pass the ball 35 times a game and spread that ball around. So he might get limited touches, but he's gonna be their goal line back, and he's their every down back. So he'll have the quantity and the quality of in that spot. So that's why I felt taking him at number 4. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor's coming into his 2nd year. I would love to be super confident that he's going to have a 1,500-yard season and 12 touchdowns, but we just don't know. You just don't know. He's so young, and I mean, and we've already seen a couple of key injuries and problems with the Colts offensive line. I still am super high on Jonathan Taylor. I don't think of those 3, I don't think there was a wrong decision. Like, I don't think I would have messed up going with any of those 3. It's the beauty of an 8-team league is it's hard to not grab that star
that is
player.
A good point.
So, and obviously Devontae Adams, best receiver in football. I don't know. It's tough.
I feel like you get a lot of steals because it's an 8. because it's an
Yeah.
18 league.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about, because we're flying through this draft. We'll talk about who I've already, in my mind, who I've already gotten steals out of.
See,
after that
I was
pick.
gonna say Jonathan
But
Taylor.
so what do you think of? Go ahead.
I was gonna say Jonathan Taylor should have been your pick. So it's funny you had him on like your top 3, because I was gonna say Carson Wentz is gonna get out most of the time, so they're gonna have Eason in, so they're gonna have to run the ball through Jonathan Taylor, and he's gonna score a lot because he's their lead back. So it's like I would have gone with the running back there for first.
Yeah,
but otherwise, solid pick because you'll at least get a steal at running back later on.
That's
There's
true.
32 teams.
Yeah. And so let's see, we'll run it. Okay. It looks like I am up next. So my second pick, we'll go through these a little quicker. My second pick at number 13 overall, I got DeAndre Hopkins. Easy decision there. Didn't even hesitate. And then in the third round, I got DK Metcalf at 20. So again, easy decision. Yeah. So now I've got 2 wideouts and my feature back.
Who are the other big players that just got picked?
So we're looking at, that second round. Oh, it's my turn. Are you ready for this? So this is probably my fourth this is at least my third, if not my fourth draft this year already, right? I have been super high on one guy I think is going to be an absolute steal. And I have not gotten him because I hesitated. I waited too long.
Mac Jones.
And I tried to, no. And I'm about to draft him. Are you ready?
Cam Newton.
There it is.
Tebow. Carson.
Kyle Pitts.
Oh,
Kyle Pitts.
I didn't see that.
Kyle Pitts, baby. So the great thing about Kyle, yeah, I'm sure you did. So the great thing about Kyle Pitts is he's technically a tight end. Perfect. So he fills that tight end spot. Here's a little secret. It's not really a secret. Atlanta's going to use him essentially as a wide receiver.
Who's his quarterback?
So Matt Ryan.
Mm-hmm. And what has happened with Matt Ryan the past couple of years?
He's thrown for 4,000 plus yards and 30 plus touchdowns. I mean, what
garbage QB? That's Jameis Winston numbers right there.
It don't matter.
They're not going to do anything.
But it doesn't matter. I know the team's no. I know the team's not going to do anything.
Anything else to do?
I know. It's fine.
How are they going to throw the ball if they get just sacked every play?
Dude, because he's a tight end security blanket who also happens to be like a 6'5", 4
He has to block the entire time now.
He's not going to block. They're going to use him as a wide receiver. You're insane. You're insane in the membrane.
Points for blocks. If you have points for blocks, then
Yeah, but they're not even going to use him as a blocking tight end.
He'll get tackles. You'll get points for tackles because Matt Ryan's going to throw interceptions and he'll chase down and tackle the guy.
That actually reminds me of one of my favorite NFL statistics I've ever heard. And it's the fact that Larry Fitzgerald, for his career, has more tackles than dropped passes.
Yep.
I don't know if that's
Larry Fitzgerald instead of
Pitts. So I don't know if that means I don't know for that Larry Fitzgerald stat. I don't know if I'm it's super impressive regardless because it speaks to how little he drops the ball. Hold on, I'm back up on the clock. So
you pick a running back finally?
I went with Aaron Jones. I'll go get another running back.
Yeah, get stacked that running back position.
You know what? I think let's take a look here. So running back wise, we're looking at I got Joe Mixon on the board. I'm thinking Chris Carson. I'm gonna go Chris Carson.
Who's the third best available running back?
Right now by Yahoo's rankings, we've got Joe Mixon, David Montgomery, and James Robinson, and Chris Carson was right in the middle of the first two. So of those four, he was the second one down, and I had him queued up. Hey, look, he's going to be Seattle's back. I know Russell Wilson runs a lot and passes a lot, but he still uses a feature back. He'll get 20 plus touches a game. I'm okay with that as my RB2. Not a problem.
It's a Donald Brown situation. He's just going to be blocking for the QB. Except for that one.
I got my eye on another running back. Don't you worry. Josh Jacobs out of Vegas.
Okay,
I like
he's
still sitting there.
Yeah,
he's still sitting there.
For a couple of my leagues.
I'm up. I got 7 picks. I got 7 picks before I go again, and we'll see. I might take him.
Lamar Jackson on the board. You should take him. That's QB.
Unless
he's out because of COVID all the time.
He actually went the pick after me, Chris Carson. So I took
really?
Chris Carson.
See, they smart because he's gonna get those running touchdowns and the passing touchdowns. He's just gonna kick for them too, so it's all good.
But hey, you know who I'm thinking for quarterback? I got two guys that I'm looking at in every league. In every league, I've got two guys.
Mac Jones.
Kyler Murray and Matthew Stafford. I think are going to be really, really good.
Matthew Stafford would be a good pick. Yeah, I think he's going to throw a lot this year. Yeah, you should totally pick him.
I will. I probably will wait a little bit, and because I think he's fallen down a lot of boards. I think people aren't really valuing him what I think he's going to value. So I know in my one league that I got him in like the 9th round. But Toddeh, while we're waiting, I got 4 picks before I come back up. So we'll come back to this. Let's talk about some stuff. So. The first thing has got to be one of the wildest stories I think any of us have ever heard of in the sports world, and I cannot wait for all the documentaries and mockumentaries and 30 for 30s that we're going to get about Bishop Sycamore High School.
Yep.
Because this is one of the craziest stories, not even in sports. Like, this is one of the wildest, like, no way this is real life and not a TV show sitcom script story. So the basis of it, and there goes Kyler Murray. That's fine. I knew he would go. Like I said, if I really wanted him, I almost took him instead of Chris Carson, but I wanted to get another back. I can sit on a quarterback for a little while. Mm-hmm. This Bishop Sycamore story is crazy. So, I mean, let me see if I can find while I'm waiting. Because I know I had it pulled up here just for this reason. Perfect.
How many adults they had on the team?
Just all of it. So this Bishop Sycamore High School. Alrighty, here's the highlights. So here's why we're talking about them. They played a game on ESPN last week. They were on ESPN, nationally broadcast. They get shelled 62-0. Okay, stuff happens. That's not even a nugget of the story. Like, that's a blip that's not even on the radar. So they find their way on ESPN. They're not a real school, Toddeh. Their address is a residential duplex. Like, if you look up this school, they're a residential duplex. They're based in out of a league in Texas, and they're in Ohio. Most of their roster are JUCO dropouts and other 20-year-old and above guys. Their head coach had an active warrant out for his arrest based on fraud charges. The
superintendent was the defensive coordinator.
Yeah. The head coach had a warrant for his arrest for fraud charges based on writing blank checks to a hotel that the team was staying at that they couldn't afford. And this team had to go for food. This team would go as like team activity was like, okay, we're going to go to the Meijer and Walmart and Kroger and steal food so we can eat. They've never won a game ever. They went 0-6 last year, scored only 42 points, gave up 227. They played a game 2 days before their ESPN game, which they also lost. So the crazy part of this too, ESPN couldn't verify, didn't have active rosters. They couldn't verify any of their players in any kind of scouting database. At least one player is known to be using a fake name and lied about his recruiting.
8 top 50 recruits, Chris. 8 of them on the team. We just don't know who.
Here's my favorite nugget in the whole thread. They are still scheduled to play a school on September 10th. I love it.
A lot of schools actually just dropped out from facing them, so maybe they dropped out by now.
I absolutely love it. It's amazing.
And this school's been here since 2020. They've been playing since 2020.
Yeah.
Like, nobody was just like,
I don't understand.
Hey, these are adults. They're adults and they lose to kids.
It's wild. It's absolutely wild. It is crazy. Oh, there goes one of my sneaky picks. I missed my pick. So I had so basically it goes off, your queue. So I still ended up with a fine player. I got DJ Moore, so I'm okay with that.
Stafford's gonna be gone by the time you get to him.
Well, Josh Jacobs is still there, so if I'm gonna take him now. So there we go. I've got Jerry Jeudy is still on the board. Chase Edmonds is still on the board. And I got 3 quarterbacks that are in my queue that they're all still there: Stafford, Burrow, and Trevor Lawrence. So if I end up with Stafford and one of the two, either Lawrence or Burrow, I'll be happy for my backup. No problem.
What do you want, Joe Burrow?
Backup, baby. Backup, baby. What are you talking about? Maybe So yeah,
I will say Joe Burrow's unpredictable because he didn't even play a full season last year. So
yeah, it's tough to know.
That is good.
So Toddeh, what do you make of this Bishop Sycamore story? Like, I know it's impossible to break it all down. It's the wildest story we've seen probably all year. What do you make of it?
I don't understand how these schools didn't know they were facing a team because they were a charter school, which that's this whole other thing on how charter schools are real schools or not, but technically they're not. But because they have different qualifications for teachers that are less than actual schools, so it doesn't make sense to me. Anywho, That's how they get these superintendents that are the defensive coordinator and they can fire the coach. Whatever.
Oh, okay.
But how did the schools that were facing them not be like, oh, hey, these are adults. Oh, hey, this isn't a school. Why are we playing at your home field?
Yeah, there's a problem with this.
A dirt field next to the highway. Hey, why do you guys always come to us to face? Hey, why are you in Ohio when you're going around the country facing these teams? It's not like in basketball, like a bunch of high schools like Chinko Hills and all that in LA go around and face all these good competition because they have high quality players. Like football teams do that too from Texas. But what? Like they have a GoFundMe out there. It's trying to raise $20,000 right now. Like,
yeah,
they were operational for an entire year before this came out publicly because ESPN screwed up and showed the game. So shame on ESPN too.
So I will start this off. I will say all of the blame is not on ESPN. As it's not. They basically contract like the vetting of this team out to another company that they obviously dropped the ball. But you're still ESPN. Your brand name is going on this product that you're putting out there on national TV. You better be damn sure what's going out there. And they obviously had no clue. And you can't be ESPN in doing that. You cannot be ESPN in doing that. So it is just absolutely insane.
Kind of shameful, just all around.
Yeah, I mean, blown away. Like the craziest story we've seen in a long time, just absolutely blown away. So a lot of not necessarily blame, but a lot of it has to fall on ESPN just because who else are you going to blame? Your name was on the broadcast. You went out there and you've got to do better. Even I know you've took the steps you normally take for all of this stuff. Like you've done your process. You've been, your ESPN, you've been around for 50 years. You know what you're doing. Stuff sometimes falls through the cracks. We're all human. It happens. It's not that big of a deal. And it's a funny little side note in a story for a while. And people will forget about it. But for now, like, ESPN's got to use this to kind of wake up, to kind of
here's my birth certificate. It says I'm a high schooler.
Yeah, I mean, like,
what was that movie they did that at? It was the baseball.
The Benchwarmers. Yep, I was gonna say it's the Benchwarmers. I am 12. It's one of the best scenes in the entire movie.
Yeah.
He hands in the paper, opens it up. There's a $20 bill in there, and a little cutout picture of him, and it's in crayons. Says I am 12, and then the other takes it, and you can see him stuff the money in his back pocket. He's got documentation. Like, no, he doesn't.
He's Dominican. What do you mean? That's how they grow over there.
Oh my God. It is just bonkers. It's bonkers. Oh man. Whew.
What's your next pick here?
So unfortunately I missed out on Stafford. So somebody snuck him before I could get him.
You.
So I am gonna go quarterback. I can go like Baker Mayfield. I can go Jalen Hurts, Tannehill, Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins, Fitzpatrick, and Baker Mayfield are the top ones. Honestly, I might just roll with. Let's see who I have in my queue.
Mac Jones.
Oh shoot, I'm going with Baker Mayfield. I'm gonna go with Baker.
That's a good one.
Really
He's gonna be quality this year.
Yeah, I don't mind it, but I don't really like it because it looks like Trevor Lawrence. Like I just kind of freaked out because Trevor Lawrence and Burrow were gone too. So like all three of my quarterbacks went in those 8 picks.
Hey Chris, you like Carson Wentz so much? Just draft him.
I mean, I might take. You know what? He might not be a bad backup, Toddeh.
But he's not going to play, Chris.
I just have to figure out what weeks he'll be in and what weeks he won't be, and then Baker Mayfield's there to take. Like
it's going to be like half the time, Chris.
Yeah,
get Eason. Just draft Eason. Do it. Draft Tebow.
Oh my God, I'm gonna smack you. Stop it.
He's better than Cam Newton. Do it.
Oh my God. Yeah. So we'll talk about that. That's a pretty we'll talk about it now. We'll talk about it again with Michael. So so Cam Newton gets cut in probably I mean, I don't think it's really a reach to say that was the biggest shock across the league on cut day, that Cam Newton, who signed a 1-year $14 million contract to come back to the Patriots after a so-so year for him last year. You know, it looked like the Patriots were, okay, let's roll with him. He's going to be our guy, at least for this year. There's another prove it year, so we're only signing him to a 1-year deal again, but he's going to have the reins. And then they go out and draft Mac Jones in the first round, and nobody really panics like for Cam Newton. Everybody kind of sees it for what it looked like, where it was like, okay, cool. Like they're going to they've got Cam for this year to ease Mac Jones into it. And then, more than likely, they won't re-sign Newton. Mac Jones will take over year 2 after a year of watching a former MVP and learning all that he can learn from him, be ready to go. But then on cut day, this year, they cut Cam Newton for, it's tough to say exactly what the reason was. But
Mac Jones was good. We should have drafted him.
So I think it was a combination of Mac Jones maybe even being more than what New England expected, like quickly. And, maybe they saw what they really saw. They liked what they saw from him so far in this preseason. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, they're willing to cut bait and just give it a go to him. Obviously, they're not the first NFL team to hand the keys over to a first round rookie quarterback in week 1. And as much as I personally don't like it when teams do that, unless you have a generational guy like an Andrew Luck, I really don't like the idea of throwing your guy out there week 1 and just kind of throwing him to the wolves and being like, well, he'll sink or swim, because nine times out of 10, they're sinking. They are absolutely sinking, because football is such a team sport that it's almost like your talent level doesn't matter if you don't have pieces around you or a good coaching staff around you, or both. So, you take this 22-year-old kid and say, cool, here's the keys to my, not great franchise because we had a high pick. And I'm going to expect you say, hey, we only won 5 games last year. I'm going to expect double that from you with the same roster that I had last year, but you're so good, you're going to lead us to 5 more wins than the wins that we got last year. And if you don't, we're cutting you by year 3 because you're the bust, not our crappy organization that can never figure out how to win. We don't know what possibly could be wrong. We're trying everything. So it was a long-winded way of saying, like, I am just generally not a fan of handing the keys over week 1, because the expectations then get so high so quickly, and almost no human can succeed in that situation.
Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, you could kind of say Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
Bridgewater,
Josh Rosen.
Kind of Rosen.
Josh Rosen for sure.
But no, yeah, because like Patriots, they have a lot of people coming back that were injured last year or out because of COVID stuff. Mac Jones is like, what, 15th overall pick. So it's not like, hey, we needed you more.
Yeah.
Like, it's whatever. I think like it's gonna be fine for them because
Sure.
he wasn't like a top 10 overall pick.
Mm,
And the fact is he obviously played better than Cam Newton and he's gonna be more available because Cam
yeah.
Newton didn't
I
want to get
mean,
vaccinated and he kept being on protocol.
yeah. So I
So
do think there were two big factors that led to Cam Newton being released, and neither of them is Cam Newton's talent level. Like, we're just gonna throw that out there. It has not nothing, but it's essentially nothing to do with how good he can play when he's there.
Mhm.
It's I think they really liked what they saw from Mac Jones, and they were tired of tiptoeing around the protocols with Cam Newton, and we're just like, it's not worth it if they were thinking in worst case scenario of, if we get to week 16 and something happens and he can't go and he knocks out because of close contact, he knocks out 2 or 3 other guys, like our whole season could just go boom like that for something that's off the field, and
Sure.
it's not worth it at that point. So I think it was a multitude of things like that. And so, yeah, I mean, I think
Cam Newton sucks. He's
someone,
not gonna get signed by a team. You can't draft him, so you have to draft Tebow.
someone took
Who'd you just
someone
draft?
took Michael Pitt. No, someone took Michael Pittman before I could snag him.
Oh, you should get
So-
that Colts player that we drafted in the 7th round that we signed to the team.
Oh, I'll get him, but not right now.
Yeah.
Patience, my friend.
He's a
Patience.
late rounder pick.
Yeah.
Who's up next for you then? You getting backup QB, getting some defense. Who you pick for defense?
Honestly, I'm gonna take the Colts defense, but I'm gonna wait it out. The Bucks defense did just go off the board, so it makes me kind of want to just snag them now. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna take the Colts.
Yeah,
defense.
you might as well
I don't
snag
care.
the good defenses now.
Yeah, it is a little early, but I mean, somebody else took a defense. As long as I'm not the first defense or the first kicker go off the board, I'm usually okay then snagging.
Who are you
my
gonna
guy.
go for kicker though? Rodrigo, Goggles.
Goggles, baby.
See, I'd say Goggles because like
He's
obviously,
100%,
like,
man. He
really accurate.
hasn't missed. Yeah.
But like, does he score a lot?
Think about, yes. I had him last year in his rookie year, and he was a top 5 fantasy kicker. He really ended up
when we
like,
had Phillip Rivers as QB.
Yeah. You think we don't have like?
But now
We'll talk about this again, and we'll talk about it all season long. I feel like you and I are gonna butt heads on this. If 40-year-old Phillip Rivers can lead that young Colts team to an 11-win record, like, the combination of the quarterback room that we have now can absolutely match that or be better. There's just
If we had
just
Tim
don't see-
Tebow as
I don't see
quarterback
how they
on the
regress,
Colts,
but-
we would still suck too because he's a sucky quarterback. So
Toddeh,
we're going with Eason season, baby.
so Toddeh,
We're
there has been
17-0 team.
There you go. So Toddeh, there's been some crazy soccer stuff that's happened in the last 2 weeks since we've had an episode, and I truly, really would love to actually like learn from you and get your perspective, because it's just not my area, and I love kind of stepping out of my comfort zone and at least trying to understand on that same like emotional and passionate level for other things that I'm not at that level. I love seeing what people are passionate about and then trying to understand and feel that passion when it's not something that I would do in my own time. So I don't really follow soccer. Obviously, I know who Cristiano Ronaldo is, and I know who Messi is, but that doesn't mean I know a damn thing, and I don't know a damn thing. So please enlighten me and the viewers on what exactly has gone on in the world of soccer in these last 2 weeks, because it sounds like some of the biggest blockbusters we've ever seen. And I don't know, tell me if I'm right or wrong there, but that's kind of the vibe that I've gotten from the little bit of soccer news that's come my way.
So I'll start off with explaining how things work in soccer. So in regular sports, you have free agencies where players will pick what teams they go to, and teams can then just trade players willy-nilly once they have their contract. Okay. The same can go for soccer during what's called the transfer window. So FIFA is a global organization. Everyone adheres to FIFA rules. So FIFA has a transfer window, which says, hey, during this time, every club around the world can transfer with each other, regardless of what time of the season it is for people. So like MLS, it's mid-season, but we can transfer with Europe somebody so they can get somebody for their season that's starting. But there's
So
generally a transfer window for everybody, but also leagues have their own deadlines too.
okay. So question. In that FIFA transfer window that you mentioned, and you said everybody can trade with anybody, like that's just a free for all for the world. There's no like, it doesn't matter
Yeah,
what league
every
they're
country
going
is
to.
part of like FIFA because like no one's not a
Right.
part of FIFA. So like
Right.
you follow FIFA's rules for transfer windows, and you can
How
like
long is how long is that transfer window?
a couple months.
Okay,
And then
so at
each
least it's
league has
so
their own where you do interleague ones.
okay.
Obviously, like
So
MLS, you can trade with other people in league.
in that universal transfer window, do you see so is that do you typically see league to league transfers or do they usually
Yeah, it's
save
league
that
to
for their
league. So
specific league?
like
Well, I
the
mean, you said the FIFA one, the universal one, anybody can trade with anybody. But then you
yeah
also said there's smaller ones for those leagues. So
yeah
what I'm asking is in the big FIFA one, do you see a lot of transfers that are league to league, or do
yeah
typically those ones
you can still
wait?
see them
Okay,
league
so
to
it
league,
doesn't
but
matter.
most of the time it's always gonna be you're buying people off from other clubs that you want. So they'll take people from lower leagues and move them to the upper leagues with these windows. Because what happens is when you buy a person's when you get a player, you have to buy them essentially.
Okay.
Most of the time, it's like you just buy them from the club they're at. So like in MLS, what happens is European clubs are like, oh, we like this kid you have. Let's do a transfer. And what they'll do is essentially they'll pay the price for the kid. They'll say, okay, we'll
Okay.
trade you $20 million for this kid so he can play for our club. And then it's a whole different system of like you pay the farm club who raised the kid, you pay the team, you pay the agent, and all these different
Hmm.
things. But essentially, they just pay for the right to have that guy's contract. You can trade also, be like, oh, you can have this player back. But when you do like interleague trades like that, most of the
Yeah.
time you don't really like, oh yeah, give me this guy. You don't really do that
Okay.
because you already have someone else in your farm system that you would want. But for the Ronaldo
Okay.
news, so he played
Yeah.
for Juventus in Series A, the Italian league. He wanted out because they had a bad season last year. So he was unhappy that they didn't win it. When in reality,
Okay.
it's like, what can you do? Because Juventus is like the best league and best team in Series A because they can purchase people like Cristiano Ronaldo.
That would be seems to be a decent thing to be
He
able to
was
do.
getting tied to Manchester City. Manchester
Okay.
City plays in the same city as Manchester United, and they hate each other. Cristiano Ronaldo's former team was Manchester United. So everybody in Manchester United, all the fans were screaming, oh, Ronaldo, you traitor. You're just going to go to the other side of the city. You're going to play for them. This is ridiculous. Because City wanted to get more people because they had
Okay.
just recently won the league 2 years ago.
Okay.
So they want to shore up some players to like, let's get back on top. Then Manchester United calls up Ronaldo and says, okay, yeah, we heard you're trying to go to City, so we'll up the offer and pay you to come join us. And so they made a deal with Juventus because Ronaldo says, I want to get traded to Juventus. Work it out for me. So Juventus can't do much because he's like one of the best players on the planet. He has the most
Yeah.
Instagram followers out of anybody in the world.
Jeez.
So he gets then they basically
So
say,
he
okay, yeah.
so he did have did he have all of the power when it
Yeah.
came to getting traded?
Yeah. Because he can sit out.
So I mean,
he doesn't care about money.
okay, right. So if he sits out, I mean, what's the fallout there if he sits out? It's gonna hurt Juventus because fans won't show up.
Yeah, it's
Things
gonna
like
make the
that.
club look bad because they don't have a player playing that they're paying. But
Okay.
technically not paying him because like he's gonna get fined for sitting out, but it still goes against the
Okay.
cap for the league. So it would hurt them, but also be like, okay, we can get a lot of money for this guy if we sell him. So
Sure.
I think his buyout was like 15 million that they got for him just to move a contract
Okay.
of a player that didn't want to play there.
Huh.
Because the clubs use that
Interesting.
money for their farm leagues, for the systems, for sponsors, everything. The money
Sure.
can go anywhere. Doesn't matter. But he goes to Manchester United. It's all the Manchester United fans who are just shitting on him. Be like, oh, whoopsies. No, you're our favorite. Just kidding. Other news like that, it's like Harry Kane from the Tottenham Hotspurs wanted out, but they have the club saying, no, we're not going to trade you. You either play or you can sit. And he started playing again. and they just re-signed Moon, their South Korean superstar player. He's really good. So they have superstars next to him, but he wants out too. But he's not going to get out because he's not Ronaldo. And then Messi, his club couldn't make a deal to give him the money in a contract he wanted because the league's like, oh, you can't pay this because we don't have the money. And so he's like, you don't have the money. Okay, bye. So he moves on from Barcelona, his club of forever. And he goes to Paris Saint-Germain, signs with them. And so now it's funny because he's playing with Neymar, the Brazilian superstar who he used to play with on Barcelona. So they were united, even though everyone thought they hated each other. Apparently not. But that's the kind of team Paris Saint-Germain is because they're the superpower of the French league.
Okay.
Bayern Munich's the superpower of the German league. So like Barcelona was a superpower of like the Spanish league, Juventus, Italian league, and all those teams all play in the Champions League together because they're all too good because they have all the money so they can buy players wherever they want. So it's a lot of money being spent around to pay for the right to have somebody to pay them. Not regular trades. It's more like money deals because teams run out of cash quickly and need to spend cash quick, gain money. They spend a lot of money, Chris. It's a lot of money they go to debt.
So it's just so interesting. And in the sense, especially in the sense that it's something we don't see, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's something we don't see in any other sport. Like you said, it's not a trade for a full contract and another full contract like we see in baseball and basketball and football and even in hockey and things like that. It's hey, crap, I have all this money, I need to spend it, or crap, I don't have money, so these guys have to go so I can get money. Like it's crazy. It really is. It's so what do you personally, I guess, make of the Ronaldo and Messi news? Were you surprised by either of them?
I was ecstatic by the Ronaldo news, Chris. I'm ecstatic about that. Why? Manchester United's kind of been bottom of the barrel. They always get, not bottom of the barrel so much as like they underachieve. They always get like fourth place on the table for the champions for the Premier League, and like they spend so much money that they're like the Nets.
Ted Lasso's AFC Richmond, baby.
You watch that show
one season
for one season.
I'm a soccer expert, Toddeh.
You're one season
soccer expert
of Ted Lasso, and you think like, oh my goodness, I know everything about soccer.
I know everything.
I kept saying it's amazing. Matt said it was average. He said it was good, but not the best. It was overhyped.
Out of 10, out of 10, it's an easy 97.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that. Okay, I really don't want to go on a tangent, but here's my tangent. That show is absolute perfection. It's just perfection.
It's so wholesome.
Exactly, but it's not cheesy wholesome either. It's like I don't know how to explain it. I mean, obviously it's cheesy. You can't really have wholesome without it having some level of cheesy to it. Like you can't. It's impossible. But it is absolutely the closest thing I've ever seen to being 100% wholesome and 0% cheesy. Like it
I don't know, it's because cheesy.
Of course it is. Of course it is. But like I said, you can't have. They're not mutually exclusive. They're mutually tied together. You can't have wholesome without it feeling some level of cheesy. It doesn't matter what you do, and this is the closest representation I've seen of it not being. Because I mean, yes, probably because a lot of it, because the adult themes are there throughout the entire run. The language is there throughout the entire run. There's a couple unnecessary locker room shots of bare asses. Like, yes, you get you are constantly reminded that this is an adult show, but in the most wholesome, in some of the most wholesome ways you can do that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they talk about all of the adult things in the world, you know, money, alcohol, sex, drugs, all of it, but they do it in such a cheesy, wholesome, funny, hilarious way that it's brilliant, that it's flipping
Jason
brilliant.
Sudeikis is a good actor.
I mean, fantastic. And if anybody
get back with him, Olivia Wilde. It's ridiculous.
If anybody had any doubts of his acting ability at this point, before Ted Lasso, before Ted Lasso, watch it, then come back and reevaluate, and it should all change. So of course, I got into it and I wanted to binge it. I wanted to sit there and watch all 10 episodes of the first season and then, the second season. But I was good, and I was at least 2 or 3 episodes a max when I sat down if I had the time. Or I'd watch one, eat while I ate lunch, and then switch to something else just to make it. I still ended up watching it 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, the first season, and then of course the season ended, and I was so bad I was like, at least let me watch the first episode of the second season so I know. And I was like, no, this is the play. We're gonna let it settle. We're gonna feel good about it. We're gonna
it's
take it all in.
It's a TV show on Apple TV also. So I mean,
that is not true, by the way. That is not true. So what I did in the meantime to pass some time before I started season 2, I did look through. There was other shows I wanted to watch on Apple TV, right? So I started
Mythic Quest.
I started Mythic Quest.
Yeah,
and I'm about halfway through the first season on that one, and that show is incredible.
It's really good, and also I love
really
the flashback episodes. Have you gotten to those yet?
I've gotten to. So I watched I think I'm 6 episodes.
Have you remembered that you're drafting stuff right now, Chris? Are you even looking at your draft?
Nope, we finished. We're done. I was I'll recap it all in the end. Yeah, I mean, we had 15 rounds, and we I don't know. It was only an 18 league, and everybody and there was only a minute between each pick, by the way. So that's why I was like, oh crap, I need to actually just do it. So I missed one pick because I didn't realize I only had 60 seconds between picks.
I was confused because you haven't done it in a while. It's just
yeah. So it did finish up, and I still have 5 queued players that I'll keep an eye on. But anyway, now I got to the only flashbacky kind of one I've gotten to is the first one, the life and death of that dead what was the game called by the other company that I have no idea why there was a full episode about them, but I'm sure they'll tie that in. The one about the monsters in the light, and she didn't want to kill the monsters. Do you remember that one? Have you gotten there yet?
Did you not get the entire point of that?
Maybe I must not have. I don't know why.
Have you gotten past that yet?
Yeah, so I watched that one and then the one episode right after that, and that was it. No, maybe I haven't watched the one after that yet. I don't know. Yeah,
there's 2 episodes for it.
Okay, I think I've only watched the one then.
Yeah, there's 2 for you.
I only watched the. Okay. I only watched the episode that was hey, here's the life and death of this entire game and apparently company, and that's it.
And I was like, okay, to the next episode, but it's basically that's the company before them, and he does the exact same thing as them because the guy they were with is because
the episode ends. I mean, the episode ends with him pitching Mythic Quest to the same guy. So I
you gotta love your baby, Chris. You gotta love it.
Yes. But so anyway, my point was there is in fact other good stuff on that. That looks good. I'm enjoying that one so far.
Those are the only 2 shows.
No, I want Mankind. I want to watch C. C looks really good. Bro, you got Dave Bautista and Jason Momoa fight. That's all I needed to know. Come on now. What's the morning show? I haven't watched it, but I want to watch that one.
On there. Who cares about that? Also, there's that the one with Keegan Michael Key. The singing and
I want to watch it. I want to watch that one.
Don't watch it.
I'm gonna watch it.
I was in show choir. I watched it. I was like, I hate this show so much because I hated show choir, and I watched that. I was like, oh yeah, this is why I hated show choir.
Well, there you go. But so it has nothing to do with the show. Got it. But the last thing I'll say before we get back to this, we've been on a tangent, and I love it. But the last thing I'll say, Mythic Quest. I think my favorite part of Mythic Quest so far, at least one of them, is definitely the fact that Abed is a total asshole.
I know, right?
And it's amazing. I had no idea that was in Danny Pudi's wheelhouse, and it's freaking amazing.
Pundy.
I love it. Pundy?
I think it's Pundy.
I thought it was Pudi. Anyway,
it is. So never mind.
For the win.
And in there.
But longest roundabout way of saying Ted Lasso is amazing.
He's
I
got
know
twins.
soccer now. Wow.
Good for him.
Yeah. Ted Laszlo is amazing. Laszlo is amazing. I am now a soccer expert after watching 10 episodes of that show and could definitely go coach a Premier League team as well. So that's the takeaway from that show, right? That anybody can go be a gaffer for a Premier League show.
Why don't you go be second league football coach first, Chris? Then you gotta upgrade one before the other.
Yeah,
be the Pacers announcer, Chris.
Bro,
apply to that. Do it.
You have no idea how bad I want to, but I don't even know what the point. I don't know what the point would be.
Do it.
Like, what's the point? Anyway, so
what's the point? It's to get your name recognition out there.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, cool, done. Where's my shredder? Where's my shredded pile?
Might as well. Never hurts. Never hurts.
It'll hurt getting that rejection letter, Toddeh. What do you mean never hurts?
Who cares? Then you're like, oh my god, the Pacers saw this rejection letter. Let's go.
I've got official letterhead from the Pacers office.
Larry Bird comes to your house, just poops in your hand.
So speaking of basketball, that's a decent tie-in to let's talk about our little NBA segment, Toddeh, because your team is still out here making moves, man. Your Lakers are out here making moves. Like, so today they come out and so it was a wild. So the NBA, we talked about, that transfer window in soccer. The NBA I'm not going to lie, can absolutely confuse me with these sign and trades and these trades and then buyouts and just really go through waivers and it's all, it just blows my brain every time stuff happens. So, see if I follow this timeline right. So DeAndre Jordan gets traded from the Nets to Detroit he gets traded with 4 future second-round picks for Jahlil Okafor and another player coming back to Brooklyn.
Duwambe.
So back to Brooklyn. So Brooklyn gives up 4 second-rounders, DeAndre Jordan, and gets back basically Jahlil Okafor. And they get, out of DeAndre Jordan's contract.
And they cut Elise Johnson earlier also.
I saw that. So I wish the Pacers had some kind of roster spot because I would love to get him back here because he was fantastic. Yeah. But I mean, it's a good problem to have that the Pacers just have no spots for right now because they've got, kind of talent kind of all over the place. But it'd be cool. It'd be a nice reunion. So We'll see. But so DeAndre Jordan gets traded to Detroit, and then 20 minutes later it comes out, Detroit's like, we don't want him. We're buying him out. Don't even get on the plane. Don't come to Detroit. Just stay where you are. It's fine. Just stay. So Detroit buys out his contract, and the Lakers are already like, yep, we knew he was getting traded and bought out, and we're ready when he comes through waivers. So he's apparently going to go to the Lakers. So there you go, Toddeh. Your Lakers adding another big. Starting to feel like
probably means that Marc Gasol's not coming back.
Well, it's starting to feel like they're Thanos here, and they're just they're getting all those Infinity Stones, man, and they're just setting them in there.
Oh boy, I'm so excited for DeAndre Jordan, who can't jump anymore and who can't play defense. Wow. Doesn't that just sound like every other player we've had plays center besides Marc Gasol?
All I have to say is Lob City. That's all you need to know. Can you believe that
Lob's from?
For real, can you believe that was literally probably? But can you believe that was like 10 years ago? By the way, like Lob City, like Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, and Blake Griffin on the Clippers. Was like
I just noticed Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan were on the Nets together.
Yeah,
that's kind of funny.
Hilarious.
No, if they were together and won a ring before Chris Paul, that'd be so funny.
So, right, that would have been very, very interesting.
It's all because DeAndre Jordan didn't go to the Mavs.
So your Lakers get DeAndre Jordan on. I mean, to be fair, they signed him to a 1-year, $2.6 million deal. Like, They're not paying him. I mean, that would be a life-changing amount of money for us, but like that's pennies for the Lakers. It's pennies. That's a no risk, only reward kind of move.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, we probably won't even see him play in the regular season. What? He'll probably play 30 games. I'd be surprised if he plays 30 games, one way or the other, for 10 minutes or more. You know, I mean, he's obviously just going to be depth.
That probably. He sucks.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, he's
sucks.
depth.
He's Montrezl Harrell, but old.
Yeah. But the Nets still did make a move. So they traded away DeAndre Jordan, and then they signed LaMarcus Aldridge, who 5 months ago retired due to, you know, his heart condition. So I'm torn on that move because I want to see him succeed on the court. I really do. I've never had any kind of grudge against him. He's always been just a really good, solid player. When he was in Portland and in San Antonio, I thought he was just a nice, complimentary star level piece.
Yeah.
Who didn't do a whole lot, wasn't flashy, but just played really, really good basketball. Like a Tim Duncan extra light. Mm-hmm. So I just, and ironically, my heart broke for him, you know, when you hear about his heart problems and forcing him to step away from the game multiple times. Yeah. And how scary. I mean, we heard like he had some really scary close calls. I mean, shocker, when you're talking about your heart, it's not really something to play with. It's you know, you have to be careful with that. Because unfortunately, you know, anything can happen. It doesn't matter, you know, how in shape you know, at that point, when you're talking about a condition like that, doesn't matter how in shape you are, how much money you've got, and how it's, you know, you can go just like that. So anyway, all that grim and doom aside, you know, he steps away 5 months ago, you know, but now he's back. So who knows what's changed in the last few months. I wish him nothing but the best health wise.
He's always gonna suck anyway. What?
I mean, who knows? He might not, like, obviously I don't expect him to play a whole lot. You know, maybe he's just there as
he's a playoff player.
Even as a coach, you know, a playoff player, just again, that veteran leadership in the locker room. I don't expect him to jump in the starting lineup in Brooklyn. So, you know, it's interesting, but really all the news today really just made me, you know, just a little bit more, just that much more excited for the NBA season.
It's coming back soon.
Yeah.
All right. You want to finish up with what you had for your draft then?
Yeah. So yeah, we can do that. I will. I know he's not here, but I am going to give Michael's Cincinnati Reds a shout out, because right now in September they are doing kind of the unthinkable, and they are the team right now, Toddeh, keeping the Padres at bay and out of the playoff picture.
Yep.
Right now, the Cincinnati Reds are holding on to that second wild card spot, you know, with less than a month to go before the regular season ends. So that would be pretty wild. It would just be pretty crazy to see them back in the playoffs. They haven't been since 2012, 2013. So, you know, you're almost a 10-year drought. You know, those fans are just passionate and deserving as any other fan base in baseball. So
are they though?
Yeah, they are. They really are. I like to jab at Michael and give him crap and poke fun and whatnot, but they're not the Cardinals, so I've never harbored any ill will towards them. So if another NL Central team is going to make the playoffs, damn the Cardinals, and I never want it to be them. I don't like, and truthfully, I don't like the Pirates. I think they're, a not well-run organization from the top to the bottom. I just don't like them.
Really?
So
no.
Yeah, shocker, I know. But the Reds are a super fun rivalry with the Cubs. They play them tough always, even when they're even when they are that bottom dwelling team, and the Cubs are actually playing meaningful baseball in September. The Reds always seem to be that team that's the thorn in the side. So they're a lot of fun. I enjoy them. So yeah, I'm kind of rooting for them to hold on to that second wildcard spot. But honestly, I'm also still kind of pulling that the Padres get it, just because I really want that three-headed monster in the National League West of the Giants, the Dodgers and the Padres. I want those three teams in the playoffs in some mix because I want that wild card game because it's a best of one, Toddeh. It's one and done.
Yeah.
It's a what? I want that game so badly to be the Dodgers and Padres because I guarantee you that will be the best game of the season because that'll be the closest, Toddeh. That'll be the closest game we get all season to an NBA level like drama and petty and like teams hating each other night.
I feel like that'd be anybody in the Giants. Nobody likes the Giants.
No, but there's a different level of hatred towards for the Dodgers and the Padres. It's almost like Cubs Cardinals. Like they absolutely cannot stand each other. Whereas like, yeah, people don't like the Giants, but nobody really like actively roots against them. There's you know what I mean? There's that kind of subtle but key difference.
Yeah.
But man, those two teams, they would be so much fun to watch in a 1-game playoff. Like that would be the game that I would get my popcorn ready for and sit down and just, I don't even care who wins. I just want to see that, like, because there's going to be chippy play, balls thrown at each other. Benches are probably going to clear twice. Like it's going to be great for me as an I don't care. I just want to see the chaos. Oh, it'd be so good. So I want to see that, but of course, I do actually kind of want to see the Reds. So I'm torn. We'll see how it goes either way. But I did want to give a shout out. We'll talk more baseball next time Michael's on. Yeah. I promise that much. And then we're going to do not forget, everybody, we are going to do our NFL season preview sometime this coming week. Follow us on the social medias you can see on our screen. You can follow me on Twitter at Mr. Topher92. So you can go ahead and follow me and check that out for that release. Michael is at Drive True. It's DR1VETRU. So you can follow either of us or 3C Media. We have a new Twitter handle. It's at 3C Media. So the number 3, the letter C, and then media. It's super simple. And you can follow us there. And Craig, who runs that site and that Twitter account, does a great job of updating it, keeping our content fresh and clean and on time and pumping everything out. So definitely
don't forget the TikTok here, Chris. Plug that in.
That's your area.
Don't forget to look if you like baseball. CraigCrash TV. Craig posts some nice MLB the show draws. I don't know, the package openings. He does that. Polls. That's the word for it. Yeah, don't forget about TikTok, everybody. That's the best social media app out there right now. The best.
It's the best. So
I'm also on there.
Anyway, you can follow. You can find us on all of those platforms: Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and Facebook. 3C Media, CraigCrash TV, Mr. Topher92, Drive True. Anyway, so we will put stuff out there whenever we hammer out what our logistics schedule is going to look like for this next week with our special. Not quite sure if we're going to do a special and a regular episode, or if we're just going to do one special and call it a week. We'll see how that goes. So I guess we'll wrap this up with let's take a look at what my team ended up looking like. So there we go. So I haven't adjusted it yet. Obviously, it just the Yahoo auto fills it as we draft. So right now my starting lineup, if you will. So it looks like this league has 1 quarterback spot, 3 wide receiver spots, 2 running back spots, a tight end, and your defense and your kicker. So no real flex spot, but you get that 3rd wide receiver spot. So it kind of works out. It's okay. So I've got Baker Mayfield as my quarterback.
Okay.
DeAndre Hopkins, DK Metcalf, and DJ Moore are my starting wideouts.
That's pretty good.
Yep. And my running backs, Aaron Jones and Chris Carson. My starting tight end is Kyle Pitts. My kicker is, oh my God, I'm going to get his first name wrong. Young Ho Koo.
No.
Kicker. I know. I should have known I'm in a draft with fellow Colts fans. I thought I could just kind of wait on him. No, of course Goggles was going to go. I should have just snagged him. But I got the Falcons kicker, who is a fantastic kicker, just objectively speaking. So I'm okay with that. It's fine. Maybe I'll try to set it. Maybe I'll try to trade him for Goggles straight up. We'll see.
Do it.
And then I did snag the Colts defense. I'm super excited about that. I think people are undervaluing that unit. I don't think people are giving that unit enough, attention and recognition. I really, really, really feel like that unit ceiling is a top 5 unit.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I really do. And I think their floor is still a top 10 unit. I think they're right in that upper third.
They'll get you some points.
Oh yeah. They ended up last year. I had them last year. I looked at it. If I remember right, they were a top 3 fantasy scoring team last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're bringing back just about everybody and adding some pieces. Yeah, we lost Justin Houston, but they replaced him with Kwity Paye, and I'm good with that. You still have DeForest Buckner, obviously. You still have Darius Leonard. So the linebackers, I'm intrigued by the linebackers because we did not re-sign Anthony Walker, so have those shoes to fill. But I mean, still got one of the best, if not the best, slot cornerback or just cornerback in the league in Kenny Moore, who is absolutely a stud back there. And Julian Blackmon, I think people have already forgot how great his rookie year was. I
forgot about it. That's for sure.
Yeah. He stepped up when Malik Hooker went down in week 1. And just filled those shoes and then some.
Isn't he a Texan now?
Yeah. I thought maybe in Miami, but I could be wrong. No, maybe Dallas. I think he's actually in Dallas. I feel like he went to the Cowboys. Final answer. So anyway, I think people are undervaluing that unit. And then if you look at my bench right now, I've got Josh Jacobs, Jerry Jeudy, Lane Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
I did snag Nyheim Hines, Toddeh. This one I was super excited about, actually. I snagged, does it tell me what round I got him in? No, of course not. Anyway, super late. So it was like a 15-round draft. In the 13th round or so, I got Devontae Smith, the rookie wideout for the Eagles, that I think is going to be
nice.
I mean, all he is your reigning Heisman Trophy winner and former teammate with Jalen Hurts. Like, there's that instant connection right away.
Yep.
Why would Hurts not make him his security blanket, his go-to guy, his number one,
Yeah.
He absolutely is going to spoon feed him the ball. And then I snagged my last pick. I snagged Jarvis Landry just because I like to have a wide receiver that pairs with my quarterback.
Yeah. That's smart because Jarvis Landry was great last year. Better than Odell Beckham Jr.
Well, I think he stepped up when OBJ went down, and so it's a weighing out, like, if OBJ is the true number 1 receiver, like, Jarvis Landry is going to get not a lot of attention, not a lot of balls. He's not going to have a lot of chances.
When was the last time OBJ was any good?
When he made that one-handed catch.
Yeah, how many years ago was that now? 5?
Oh yeah, about 5 years or so. But so I basically, with that last pick, when I went with Landry, I passed up on some guys that otherwise I would have drafted ahead of him. I passed up on Rondale Moore, rookie wide receiver for the Cardinals out of Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
I passed up on him. I passed up on Randall Cobb, who's back with the Packers, who I think is going to have an impact year this year for sure. Because again, so wide receivers, I always find wide receivers really interesting in fantasy football because I feel like, generally speaking, people like to look at wide receivers and be like, who's the best wideout? I'm going to go grab him.
Mm-hmm.
When they don't think about the other factors of, like, who's throwing them that player the ball. And then you even look at it farther, like, not only who is throwing them the ball, how's their offensive line look? Does the offensive line give that quarterback enough time to find that great wide receiver open down the field? Like, you have to think about the entire offensive unit when you're looking at wide receivers. It is not just based on wide receivers' talents. At least once you get past that first elite tier of Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, Metcalf, Calvin Johnson back in the day. Like, yeah, those guys can have you, me, and Michael throwing them the ball, and they're going to put up 100+ yards because they're that good. But outside of that, you have to find the right team and the right matchup and the right pairing between quarterback and offensive unit to wide receiver. So I always get intrigued by wide receivers when it comes to fantasy football drafts, because they're, in my opinion, they're the most fun to draft, and they're the way you can really kind of, in my opinion, flex your brain muscle, your thinking caps here when it comes to drafting, because they're tricky and you can use a lot of different ways to go when it comes to wideouts. You have the most variety of players when it comes to wide receivers. So picking, the 5 or 6 that are best for your team is just a fun puzzle for me to put together. So like I said, I would have gone, Rondale Moore, even AJ Green, who signed with the Cardinals, or Randall Cobb, but I really did want to pair somebody with my quarterback. So I went with Jarvis Landry. We'll see if he even crack. It's still going to be tough for him to crack, since I don't have a flex spot. It's going to be tough for him to beat out DeAndre Hopkins, DK Metcalf, DJ Moore, Jerry Jeudy, and Devontae Smith. Like it's going to be hard for him to beat any of those guys out, let alone 2 or 3 of them to crack that top 3 outside of bye weeks and moving around. So who knows? But that was a lot of fun. Thank you for letting me draft while we do this and sharing that with you guys. That was a lot of fun.
Good job drafting that, Chris. That was a good,
thanks.
Good squad you picked up.
I appreciate that. Thanks. Kind of easy in an 8-team league, just because the talent is overflowing there.
The other teams just have unlimited, they have the best team ever. You're just like, oh yeah, this is good. Oh wait, no, it's
yeah. Mine's solid. I mean, it's also kind of the nice thing about being 4th is I was, I'm almost always right in the middle of the round. So yeah, it's great to go number 1 overall, and you get whoever you want the most. You're guaranteed to get them. But my last draft, I had the number 1 pick, and it was a 10-team league. So I was like, sweet, I got Christian McCaffrey number 1 overall. Like, I'm set. This is awesome. I'm great. Then I'm like, oh God, I don't pick again until 19. Like, I lose 18 players, 18 chances at getting multiple guys. So it's rough, but yeah, it was a good time. Got anything else for us, Toddeh? I think that's gonna just about do it. I think we hit on all the things we needed to hit on.
That's it for me. I think that's all I got.
All right. I know you got to get going. You got yet another trip planned.
I got to drive up to New York City, drop off stuff for my sister.
Gosh, Toddeh.
Which is like $1,000 job for how much I'm delivering to her. It's like, why can't I just get paid $1,000? No.
Is she? I mean, are you getting it? She better be paying you something, gas money, something.
I know, right?
No.
That'd be nice.
Best of luck
if that was real.
Best of luck with that. Thank you once again. Hopefully this time next week we'll get Michael back on the show.
We'll see.
Yeah, keep an eye out for that NFL special. We will be sure to make sure that one will have Michael on it. We'll drag him here if we have to.
Yep.
So we'll get that next week. Keep a lookout for that. The Crash Course podcast will also be doing an NFL season preview. We are going to be doing 2 separate ones. So it'll be a lot of fun to see at least five people's different perspectives on this upcoming NFL season. So you'll want to tune into to both of those previews. And again, you can see all that info on times and releases on 3C Media's social media accounts across all platforms. So keep a lookout for that, and we will see you next time. Thanks again.